Mike McCool here in the Royal Examiner studio, and with me today is Josh Ingram. Josh is running for Front Royal Town Council, and congratulations on your doing that. Josh is currently on the Town Planning Commission, and so this is a kind of a big step up, and now you get to vote on the things that you've all planned.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to taking what I've learned in the past 2 years, and moving it forward, on the town council position.
Sure. Now I ask everybody, why in the world do you want to be on town council?
Well, that's a very valid question. I think that having the background that I've had, again with the experience I've had on the planning commission, a genuine sense of just wanting to serve my community.
Sure.
And I think that given the circumstances of the other offices that are going to be coming up, that it's going to be a fairly new council, as we discussed earlier. And I think that now would be a good time for me to step up to the plate and keep the keep the moving parts that I've helped get set in place, moving forward, and I'd like to take it up to that level. So.
Right. Yeah, they're going to have it's just hard to believe we're going to have normally you just elect 3 out of the 6 people each time, and then a new mayor each time. So now we've got almost every position is going to be new, and none of the incumbents except Amber, she's running, and she hadn't served that long, so it's going to be interesting. I think the mayor candidate, Lori Cockrell, she's going to be the long-term person now. So, but I think that's good in a way. I think when you're starting off, you're going to start off with a clean slate and not too much baggage to carry forward. So hopefully you can hit the ground moving, and we'll get a lot of stuff done in your 4 years.
Absolutely, yeah, and that falls into play too with our comprehensive plan. As you're aware that the town's comprehensive plan has not been rewritten since 1998.
Right.
And as a member of the planning commission, of course, I'm very intensely involved in that. And one of the main factors of that being successful is to build your ordinances around your comp plan.
Exactly.
So, we have a draft that's going to be presented. Actually, we have a meeting this week with the county's planning commission, and with the final draft being due late January, early February. Again, I think that's good timing for me, as having been involved with this with this comprehensive plan to execute some of these ordinances that we already have in place, and then of course shaping the ordinances that we do create to to fit that mold that's set by the comprehensive plan, because that's 20 years vision, that's being
and I think it's good you're working with the county, because if you don't have a plan that works the county, then you're both going 2 separate directions. And
absolutely, and that's another common thread that I've gathered amongst the candidates, is that, and even a lot of the consensus of the folks that I've met with during my door knocking, is that everybody seems to want better relationships with the county government as well. And I think we can do that. I mean, we've got the folks in place, with the comp plan, again, making sure that we align, as an entity, because, as we as town residents, we're not only residents of Front Royal, but we're also residents of the county.
Exactly.
So we have a vested interest in both, and it is important for both the planning commission and the town council to align, with the county's vision, because last I checked, we're here in Front Royal. I mean, there's a reason why we're in the center of the county.
Right. I always say Front Royal is the heart and soul of Warren County.
It is. It really is. And it goes back to the days of while we were formed. Folks that they simply just didn't want to make a long trip to have to go into the courthouse.
Sure.
So it's like, well, we need one here. And
that's right.
Geographically, that's why a lot of times you see county seats being in the center of the county. So
it'll be interesting. Like you say, of course, the next year we'll have half the board of supervisors will change out next year, and it'll be good to get a good fit. But I think everyone that I know on the board of supervisors wants to have a better relationship with the town, and we've had a lot of headbutting here this last year or two, and I think and a lot of that's centered around the EDA. And I think that we're moving forward on that. And I think as the courts and the justice system wheels turn slow, I think it'll just work its way out as time goes on. Be good. So what we mentioned EDA. I mentioned EDA. So we'll talk about. I've talked to a couple other candidates that have come in, and not to get into any detail or anything, but we talked pretty much about. We have two things that the council is really going to be hitting up in this first year, and that would be data centers and the Front Royal EDA. And so I think probably a little early to talk about data centers, but I know it's going to be something that's going to be coming up, and I know you have some experience with that on the Planning Commission. So you'll see if you get a little fruition from your fruit or something, or whatever it might be. But so you plan that. But are you willing to talk about your position on the Front Royal EDA? Do you have a particular thought?
Well, I understand the town's reluctancy of being involved with the EDA with the county and to an extent. However, as a conservative, I want to see results. I want to see what measurements are being taken to determine any organization's success. As a project manager, I'm consistently targeting what we call KPIs, key performance indicators.
Right.
What are those?
Right. Are we meeting our goals? Right.
Yeah. I mean, are there visible benefits? So, yeah. I mean, I personally have not had much involvement with the EDA as part of the Planning Commission. I know that they've made an appearance, of course, on behalf of the data center presentation, which that's it was a public hearing session that we had. But beyond that, I don't have any involvement with them just yet. But I think that that should be a collective. I think there should be some collective research in to see what the benefits are, and if there are visible benefits from it, then so be it. So yeah. I've got an open mind. A cautious optimistic, I guess you're saying. Being very cautious about that. So
I know when we learned the Ben Franklin close. Where you draw a line on the thing and you write the pros and the cons, and you see if the benefits are worth is the reward worth the effort.
Right.
And I think that's what we really need to look. That's really in everything when you're doing projects like you is we're going to do a lot of work and spend a lot of money. What are we going to get out of it? And are we going to be able to reap? Is it going to be worth our while to do? And I think we all need to look at everything we're doing. I think the council's done a lot. They've taken a lot of flack, but there's a lot of work that just happens in the background. We've got a lot of infrastructure, and I think people don't realize that most of our infrastructure is under the ground.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, to that point, a lot of the work that's done is done behind the scenes. Right. That's something that unless the average resident comes to every single meeting, or whether it be a work session or a public hearing, it's hard to take what's going on from the streets.
Sure.
And I always encourage folks, to come to our meetings. We want to hear. That's what we're there for.
Sure.
And I think that one of the things if I'm elected, I'm going to definitely promote that we get word out there to the folks that show up. In that regards, that's something that's a common thread amongst all the candidates that I've talked to right now. And I think that the town, in that regard, is going to be better for that, because every candidate that I'm aware of is in favor of getting community involvement. Whether it be showing up for meetings or getting organizations active. So it's just making the most of where we live.
Sure.
This is our home. So
yeah, it's great.
And the comp plan that we had initially drafted, when we did our public input sessions, or as on the Planning Commission, the common the common mention that was taken from that was that folks want to keep the town's charm intact.
It's kind of hard to put your thumb on charm, but you know it when you see it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know it when you see it.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, because we just had a great event this last weekend at our hometown Halloween and the zombie walk and all the things. Yep. And there was activities from one end of town to the other, and we were downtown. Mark and I was down, working the zombie walk, and it comes down. Yep. I'd literally thousands of people were there. It had to be several thousand people. and everyone had a good time. You could tell, and no issues, no trouble. And then 2 weeks before that, we had a resurgence of the 50th anniversary of the Festival of Leaves. Out another great turnout. Thousands of people came from all over to do it. And I think that that's something that the council has worked on with our tourism, our joint tourism committee. That was a long time coming, but it looks like that's finally starting to get some traction. And hopefully next year we'll be having a lot more of these events that we can showcase our town and give people, even for just our local community, an avenue of community and coming together. I think that's it's good. I think we need to do.
Well, that's a good point, and there are some improvements on the horizon that folks have been chattering about in the last couple of years. That I've heard from the last time I ran. And I think that you're going to see some results come to fruition this coming year with this new council.
Right.
So it's like any other process when you between getting funding and keeping the town operating. Some things move faster than others, but I think that all in all there are some parts that are moving that are going to be good for the town.
Right.
Regardless of who wins this election.
Well, you came off the planning commission where you're dealing with things that are probably short term. You get on the council, you need to really be thinking long term.
Yeah,
and I
that's
think
correct.
that's one thing I notice that sometimes a candidate or council members get on there and they get down in the weeds and they don't realize that basically the town council keeps the water running, keeps the sewer running, keeps the lights turned on, and keeps the streets open, and picks up your trash. I mean, that's pretty much
that's
what
the
the
bulk
council
of the work.
does. We don't have anything to do with schools. We don't do parks and recs. We don't put on, but that's all part of that. And and it's hard to. It's easy to get out in the weeds sometimes, because and the people come in and a lot of people don't really understand. They try to treat the town and the town council as like a separate entity from the county, and we're kind of like we're an overlay district in the county,
That's the best way to look at it.
Yeah, like a sanitary district, Which take care of the roads and the sewer.
Absolutely.
But it's true, and I think that's where it's going to be one of the things that you're going to be working on when you, if the current council doesn't do it, and that's new leadership in our management, our town manager, and so they'll be having several positions like that. Attorneys and managers and your key people, and there's a lot of discussion about that. So I think you got your plate full.
Absolutely, yeah. I know. I just saw yesterday on social media where the town had posted the opening for town manager. So, yeah, that's a decision you can't be taking lightly.
We're gonna have openings on the planning commission.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So actually, we're with. Fellow Commissioner Gordon, who just recently
that's what
resigned. So
Steve that writes covers you. He always loves that Commissioner Gordon.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm going to miss hearing that. But yeah, he was a very good commissioner. I think the town did good by having him on board.
Yeah.
So
he said, "I've been waiting to say Commissioner Gordon." Yeah. But the Planning Commission has opened your eyes on a lot of things.
Absolutely, it has.
And really, for people that want to be involved in town government, a Planning Commission is a good place to get started.
It really is.
I think we even have a vacancy now they're taking applications for. So get your application in because they're going to be, you hope that they'll have another vacancy coming up here in January. So
but it is a very good stepping stone. I mean, you get inundated with ordinances, and the town actually makes sure that you're trained as a land use professional.
Right.
So it is it is somewhat intense, I should say, but in that regard. But I mean, it's a good way of seeing what's taking place in front of you as far as the next couple months. A lot of sense when we see our permit applications, but also too, you have a very strong hand in creating ordinances. That sometimes the commission or the town council, will send a resolution down to the commission and say, hey, we'd like to see an ordinance centered around this type of land use. So
It is a little frustrating though that you spend months working on a project and it goes to the council and they vote it down or vote it up one way, or you recommend disapproval and they vote it in. You know?
But honestly, it's really no sweat off our back.
Yeah, you do your due diligence.
Yeah,
right?
we do our due diligence, and and they do theirs. So. You just kind of grin and bear it and move on, and it's all public, so anybody can ask anybody what was the reasoning behind their vote. So I'm never afraid to say why.
Let's touch base real quick before we close out here to get people to know you. I mean, you've moved here from somewhere.
I did. I moved here. I've been living here for going on 8 years.
Yeah. Because around here, if you don't go to high school here, no one wants.
Yeah. Well, I, as far as high school goes, I was educated in where I'm from in West Virginia originally, a little town just west of Charleston, and we are. I'm a dot, so I went to Polka Elementary, Polka Middle School, and Polka High School, and ESPN's most unusual high school mascot. So I'm not a Wildcat, or anything, unfortunately, but I'm a dot. My dad was a Wildcat though, from a different school. But anyways. But I did move here going on 8 years ago, and I've lived in the Shenandoah Valley for a better part of 20 years now. And I came here to Fernwell because it checked all the boxes.
Sure.
I enjoy the outdoors. I enjoy being on the river. And I always joke with my friends back where I'm from. I always say, well, all the stuff that John Denver sings about in country roads, I live near it. That's where I live.
That's really Virginia, not West Virginia.
Yes. I said there's like that much that's in West Virginia. And most of the folks are like, we don't even know where that stuff is.
Exactly.
But that's how I would explain it. So, this is, it's a playground for some folks, and that's great. But it's also, it's my home, and I don't have any intention for leaving in the foreseeable future. So I look forward to, hopefully I can get your support on November 8th and look forward to keeping the town in the right direction that it's starting to be moved in for the next 4 years, and then we'll see what happens from there. So,
well, I appreciate it, Josh, coming in and talking to us. So remember, be sure you have either early voted. I think we're going to be able to have a Saturday in there. Is it this coming Saturday? That is correct. This coming Saturday. Saturday will be one, and also there'll be next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
My gosh, it's going to be
exactly. It's already
snuck up on us.
yeah. It just seemed like the other day it was like we got about a month left.
I know. When you start this thing in January, you think, oh, we got plenty of time. We're going to get it. Next thing you know, the day is here.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we'll see you on Tuesday night, and we'll be addressing you as Councilman Ingram. So hopefully that'll be but we're going to keep an eye on you and the rest of the candidates in the council, and send Roger over there and make sure he, keeps the old saying, I want to keep an eye on you.
Roger and Steve, those guys have got VIP seating.
Yeah, there you go. Appreciate it again. Thanks, and good luck.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Good luck,
sir.